Hello, welcome to the session. I am very pleased that I can meet you and share the practical data about Korean market and Korean users' behavior, which are not easily shown on the other researches or report. So this session is about the uniqueness of Korean users, and to how to make money, to understand your local users. With my case study, I hope that you just apply it when you consider to launch your games in Korean market. Before we start, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Yoon, and I have been in gaming industry for over 20 years in Korea. I worked at LG, Webgen, CJ ENM, now they are called Netmarble, and several other publishers and startups. And in current, I am working as a head of business development at QRoad, which is a very specialized company for live operation, customer support, and QA. We have a lot of live operation experience. Those are our partners. So 433, Supercell, Webgen, iDream Sky, and more. It means that when Supercell launch their games, we do the service for Korean market. We are running around 70 to 80 games in a month. So we generated $800 million in last year. With the experience from our history, I can deliver you actual data about Korean users' behavior. So the importance of localization for Korean market. Before we go through users, let's talk about the Korean market first. This chart was being captured by Someday in April. Don't mind about the chart, the list, how they are doing well. I just want to show you that those names are all written in Korean, except few. However, the few games with English name, they are all Koreans. They just adopted the English names. So game on left side is famous game, and from Western, all localized in Korean. And game at the right side, that's the game from China, all localized. If you don't localize the game, we don't expect users play your games. Why they don't play English game? Because Koreans don't speak English. The reading English is painful to us, to me too. So let's talk about the user group, user behavior. The user group may be different, which means that one game can be popular among the 20th female user group in your country, while that game is popular among the teenager male group in Korea. That may be different. It always happens. So this chart shows that that famous game, the gross revenue of that famous game, that revenue, Singapore revenue is the blue line, and US is yellow line, and Korea is red line. If you take a look at the chart, the performance at initial in Korea was not so good. Actually, it was very bad because the gap between the other country and Korea is getting wider, which means that while the other countries are earning money, Korea didn't earn the money. Developer tried to find the problem, but they couldn't because they had no idea why it happened. But finally, we found it. The problem was that in Korea, not like the other countries, the main user group was elementary school kids, very young kids. Then right after we found the reason, then what we did was to expand the telephone call service, the after phone call inquiry. It means that's because we know that the elementary kids, the young kids, always prefer telephone call service when they need question or inquiries. So right after we set up more phone call service, the physical telephone call service, then it dramatically recovered back the revenue. If you ask me why elementary kids prefer the telephone call service, that's because the Korean users, young kids, they are very impatient. Whenever they have a question, just go to the telephone and make a phone call to us. And the other reason is that they usually use their parents' account, so they don't want to log into the community or inquiry center because they don't want to let their evidence that they play the game. They want to hide from their parents. And that was the reason why developer couldn't find it, because they usually use parent account. And this is another example from other foreign game also. Well, this chart shows the download, not the revenue. At the initial, in Korea, this game was so popular, so successful. The game really ran well. Then, 2 months later, the developer decided to move the operation team to their own country to reduce the money. They thought they understood the Korean market. They understood the user behavior. They learned everything, and they copied the system. They just cloned the system to their own country. But right after they moved the operation team to their country, of course, they hired the communicator, the moderators. Right after they moved the operation team to their own country, the download became unstable. The reason is because they put the same marketing budget. Everything was same except the location of the operation team. The reason the download became unstable is because the users felt something different. They are very sensitive, so they felt something different. Then they stopped bringing their own friends, which means that they stopped viral marketing. Then of course, that affected the revenue. Their revenue came down to 60%. So what I would like to tell you is the local relationship between moderators and users is very important, because Korean users all the time make claims and questions, and they want to get it as soon as possible when they ask questions. So relationship is important. The other sample is from my company. That's actually our customer support team from one game. So we have 3 shifts. We are doing the customer support 24 hours. If you take a look at the chart, from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m., we got over 20% of total inquiries, which means that they just send us their claim after midnight. Even after midnight to 5 a.m., we got 32 tickets in average. And also, every day we receive ticket means that everything from users. Ticket includes the suggestion from user, the inquiry, questions, claims, everything, their voice, user's voice. So, the issue is that it's not easy to give them feedback in midnight, but they really want it. So, the other issue is that they ask a lot compared to the other countries. We have the same game in other country service, and their inquiry, the ticket is around 100. But look at this, our inquiry, our ticket we receive per day is 300 to 400. It's almost 3 times bigger than the other countries. The Korean users really ask a lot. They really speak loud. So don't be surprised when you launch your game in Korea and got a lot of claims. It's normal. And the other issue continued from the previous page is that they want fast feedback, fast response. We call it first response time, which means that when they make a claim, then we just give them feedback Not just like a thank you for sending us suggestion. Actual feedback. So within 1 hour, we give them 18%, and our standard time is 1 day at least, because there are many inquiries in midnight. So within 12 hours, we have to give them 44%, and users feel that they are not satisfied. They are unhappy. The company is too late for the feedback. Even we give them one day feedback. If you take a look at the chart, we respond only 84.9%. The remained 15.1% is something that we cannot give them directly. Something like we need discussion before we give them feedback. So actually we do them all in 1 day, but they are not satisfied. And we are not satisfied too, because if the response is late, then they just go to the community and make negative activity. Like a developer don't care about users, they are stealing our money, they make negative activities. The worst thing is that they just leave the game and go to the other game, because they think that they are not seriously cared by the developer. To solve this problem, actually we are setting up one hour response time system. We are still making it. And so suggestion that I would like to give you is that we have looked briefly about Korean users' behavior. In my opinion, Korean users are not so difficult to handle. They are not so picky, not so difficult to understand. If you just care a few things, then they will be fine. Few things means that one is the localization, and the other is that they are very impatient. They are hurry. Okay, let me give you some suggestions. Of course, the translation is basic thing. You must do it. Not only in-game text, but also the content would be okay. You have to localize the operation team, because they don't speak English. And when we say localized content, it doesn't mean the text translation only. Actually, the localizing foreign game means the localizing 5 elements here. But I'm not gonna explain about this because it will take too much time and it will take another session. The reality is that when you launch your game in Korea as a foreign company, you are not able to localize everything. Maybe in-game text would be the best thing you can do, because it costs too much time and too much budget. And also you want to keep one global build. Then what you can do is find partner in Korea, local partner. Making partners with Korean company, like finding publishing partner would be the best. But it's not so easy in mobile gaming market. Then find local agencies instead, like marketing agencies or operating agency, QA agency. There are many available. Without their help, you would not be so successful. Then if you find Korean partners, and they will cover your weakness, which you didn't do the localization. Then what I want to suggest to you is the setup community. The Korean style community with Korean style operation. This community is from WebGen, Mu, and this community is from 433, from NHN, from Netmarble, from Nexon, from Gamebeer, and from Adidas. This is not gaming company, but even non-gaming company use the same format. Take a look. They look alike. They have same format. We call it this community style is called cafe provided by Naver. Naver is a Google in Korea. So because everyone uses the Naver account, so it's easy to access the cafe. That's why we set up the community here, even though they don't look beautiful. So there's no doubt that 100% of Korean game use Naver Cafe. Not foreign companies also use Naver Cafe, but not everyone. But please use Naver Cafe. Because if you use Naver Cafe, it's very easy for users because the account integration is already set up. I am not from Naver. I don't like Naver, but you have to do it. So Cafe looks like this. Let's see more about Cafe. If you take a look at the menu side, patch note, upcoming version, basic guide, tips, suggestion, Q&A, those are part for the community, the customer support. And below that, screenshot, fan art, matchmaking, freeboard, that's for the community. And below that, there are event section, that's for event hosting. Which means that in Korea, community is not only works as a community, but works as an operation center. Never try to make users to sign up your website and use your forum. You are making users annoying. So please use the Naver Cafe again. So this is a little summary about the Cafe system. In Naver Cafe, you can use the announcement about games. It's a bit about the development side, community, user support, event hosting. So we just call it community, but it's actually all-in-one operation center. I hope you start from here. So summary of this session, it's very simple. Korean market is 100 localized market, so please translate everything. Translate and operate localized operation as well. Second, they are impatient. They expect fast feedback, not like the other countries. So please be prepared with users' claims. You know why Korean users always make claims and keep their voice out loud? Because they pay money. The Korean ARPPU is very high, and a lot of people pay for games, so they think that they deserve to claim about the game. So whenever something issue happens, they just make inquiries. And of course, set up the proper community and operation for the users. Thank you. That's all my session. So, do you have any questions?
All right, we open the floor for questions.
Some players, they will say that they did not get the item, right? But actually, they already got the item, but they will request for a refund. How do we deal with these players?
Well, so you mean that when users claim for refunding item? Yeah.
Yes, but they got the item and they used it already.
But to do so, the Google, when we do so, we have to make some system with the Googles. So we don't directly give them back, but we have our own regulation.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's how we go. But generally, you end up getting a lot of people doing that, and then constantly having to deal with it. Yeah, and this one takes a lot more effort. You can't automate it because you need to look at it on a case-by-case basis. Right? So I'm just wondering if there's any way around it.
Yeah. The age of gamers, or what's the average age of the gamers in Korea?
The average users payment, or
just age groups?
Each group.
Yeah.
So who pay much more?
I guess in general, what's the age range?
ARPPU, it depends on games, right? But
just age, how old are the players on average? How old are the players on average?
Old?
Yeah.
Well, it depends on games, but some games, some user group, as I explained, some game has 8 to 15, the age of 8 to 15, but they also pay around $30 per month, ARPPU. So it's not so low compared, their age is still young, but they pay $30 per month. So I saw some games have more than $100 per month, especially if the game is MMORPG, then they pay a lot more.
How about for casual games? Do we also have paying users there for casual games? For casual games, do we
casual
also...
games? Well, casual games, to be honest, in Korea, we don't have casual games. So
Really?
yeah.
So there's no Candy Crush, there's no Match 3 game popular there? Or is it all like mid-core, hardcore games?
Yeah, right. So we used to have casual games, but it's getting mid-core more and more. It goes to the mid-core. Now, only few casual games are available, but casual games don't make a lot of money, as you know.
All right. Do we have any more questions?
So my question is, you were saying that QA Road provides community and operations service, right? Does this operations, is it referring mainly to the community management, like the Naver, building the Naver Cafe page and like managing the customer support?
Mm-hmm.
Or does it also include like actually actively participating in the game operations?
Oh yeah, our community managers just they become the game master community master in Naver community. So the Naver already know that it's being used by operation. So they allow the special account for the game masters. So we call it community managers.
I see. So that means actually like when you provide the service to a company like Supercell, you don't actually use their tools, right? It's just mainly community management.
Oh yeah, we do. For Supercell games, we do the community. We made cafe for Supercell games, each game. Then we handle it. We do the community management. In almost 100%, I'm not sure, but almost 100% of Korean game use cafe, Naver Cafe.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. Please give a round of applause for Yoon.